Hello and welcome to the Forbes India Cover Story podcast series in association with theindicast.com. My name is Abhishek. This issue's cover is a fun one. It's on Ranveer Singh, one of India's superstars on the big screen, but it's his antics off the screen that has reason to be profiled on the cover. Let's hear from Kunal Purandare, the cover story author, who spoke with the actor to find out more. Kunal, welcome back and thanks for joining in.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for having me.
Thanks. What was the brief that you were chasing when you went to Ranveer for this cover story?
We usually chase actors, when their film releases, and even their publicists or PR often look for stories around them around the time of their release. This was an unusual foray because I thought he was doing something very, very interesting by launching an independent music label called IncInk to promote raw hip hop artists in the country. Now, this comes right after the success of Gully Boy, in which he starred, and obviously now it is India's entry to the Oscars as well. So I thought it was a very unique entrepreneurial foray by this actor who stayed away from the conventional choices that people from the film industry go for, such as maybe launching a clothing line or investing in a sporting league or some team over there. So I thought it was quite interesting, and I wanted to understand what was the thought behind it. So I decided to pursue this.
How big is hip hop in India? How do you compare that with the West? Because it's not a genre that has taken off. Gully Boy got it out in the mainstream, saying this is something that exists as well in the narrow lanes of the city. So how big is it in India?
You're right, actually, Abhishek. It's not really big in India right now. Although the success of Gully Boy shows that there is a certain interest that people have in the genre. But comparing it to the scene in the US would be a bit unfair because, it originated over there in the 1970s. And it has had so much of time to grow as well. It's permeated through every level and now it's into the mainstream as well. So here it has got off to a slightly delayed start, but surely it is catching up if the success of Gully Boy is any indication. Also, the music experts that I spoke to say that people are now becoming more fearless. They are willing to voice their angst about various things. And music is one such medium where they can just express themselves freely. So it is something that is going to grow only stronger in the years to come.
Right. And this will entail, like you said at the beginning, it's not an apparel or accessory where he's invested in like some of the other stars have. So this is going to be a consistent work, meaning hard work, given that the genre itself needs advertising. And then you will have aspiring artists to be promoted. So what's the plan there?
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's a very unconventional choice, but Ranveer is known for his unconventional choices as well, whether it is in his dressing or whether it is in his choice of films as well. Sometimes that can create a wrong impression about him as a person. People might think he's not serious, but that is not the case. When I spoke to him regarding his venture, he was extremely serious and extremely passionate about what he is planning to do. So he and his friend Nauzar Irani, when they were shooting for an apparel ad for Jack and Jones, and it became successful, then they decided to call for entries for the next commercial, hip hop entries. That's when they realized that, look, hip hop is quite strong over here and there is so much of talent available in the country. Why not both of us get together and provide a platform to these boys? So they launched IncInk, and the immediate plan is they've taken 3 rappers under their wing. The immediate plan is to give a platform to these people to express themselves through intricate wordplay.
It is a for-profit enterprise, and there will be money to be made. But that might come at a future date, perhaps.
Yeah, Ranveer is very clear that it is not a not-for-profit, but he says whatever money he earns out of this, he intends to give it back to the venture itself. So he's going to use that money to promote these new artists. He's going to give them a launch. He's going to ensure that their songs are out, they are more visible, they earn more money through maybe concerts and other gigs. So it's all for the benefit of these artists. He honestly has nothing to gain out of this except maybe leave behind a legacy of sorts.
You interviewed Uday Benegal, among the first
Yes.
rock stars in the country, and he makes an interesting point where it's not only about offering a studio or a platform for these hip hop artists who may not be rich. They need some help. They need a platform, but it's also the marketing that is important to have a song and dance around the song itself?
I mean, he clearly says that the relevance of record labels today is very narrowly defined. In the past they would control everything, including some aspects of songwriting. But that is not the case today. Nowadays, people want to sign with a label because you want to provide the artist with the visibility, with the marketing support, and because it's quite a crowded place. It's very easy for people to just record a song, put it online. There are so many mediums out there. So how does one distinguish one artist from the other? This is where the record labels come in and can be of great help to these rappers. They can give them the marketing, they can give them the publicity that they need to go ahead.
And could you give a couple of examples of artists who have been onboarded already? What is the kind of background of those singers that we are looking at?
So they have taken three people under their wing as of now. One is Kunal Pandagle or Kam Bhari. He's from Kandivli in Mumbai. Then there is Chaitanya Sharma or Slow Cheetah, who lives in Juhu in Mumbai. And there is Nitin Mishra or Spitfire, who hails from Chhattarpur in Madhya Pradesh. Now, all these three youngsters have different backgrounds, and their struggles and ordeals are different from each other. So while Kam Bhari, lives in a small Mada tenement in Mumbai, his father met with a road accident and his mother had to work to support the family. So he expresses that kind of a situation through his songs. Then there is Slow Cheetah, who comes from an affluent family but says that he never sort of got the kind of belonging or ownership that he yearned for. He says that, from the outside my life looks really nice, but, only I know what I'm going through. And that is what he comes out through his song as well. And then there is Nitin Mishra, Spitfire, who comes from a small city in Madhya Pradesh. For him, I mean, he was such an introverted guy and, he did not know how to express himself. He would be confined to himself, writing and drawing. And then suddenly he was introduced to these hip hop artists and he suddenly found an outlet to express himself. These guys have now been launched by IncInk and they've got a different platform to express themselves. They are visible to the public eye. Their songs have been downloaded by so many people, viewed by so many people. It's a different high to them.
And why IncInk?
INC in IncInk stands for inclusive and the INK for revolution. So it's sort of basically getting all sorts of people together under the label and starting a revolution. Revolution in the sense by speaking about ills in the society of various kinds, whether it's dowry, whether it's communalism, fascism, female infanticide, corruption, all sorts of ills.
There will be a process in place to spot these talents.
The first three artists came because Jack and Jones had invited entries for the commercial and they narrowed down the thousands of entries to these three guys and they decided to launch them. Nauzar and Ranveer are in touch with other artists as well whom they plan to launch. And besides, they'll always have an eye on promising youngsters who can make a mark in the music world.
And Nauzar would be Ranveer's partner in crime here and the business brain behind it all, is it?
Absolutely. They are like friends since college and they know each other for a long, long time. They would unfailingly board the same train to go to college and, they have spent a lot of time together. So this is a great initiative in which they can leverage each other's interests. Nauzar obviously is more business minded. Not to say that Ranveer is not, but because of his film commitments, it leaves him with very little time. So he's the bouncing board and he acknowledges that, but his name is very vital to IncInk as well.
Right. And some might even call this a noble initiative in that it will make money in near future, but it also offers a nice springboard.
I mean, it's early to predict how it will do, but given the response and given the way the genre is evolving and the manner in which they are promoting their artists, I think it's good for promising youngsters in the country, and we'll see how it goes.
Right. More power to them. Thank you very much, Kunal, for your time on this podcast. It was great fun.
Most welcome, Abhishek. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And all you listeners, you can get this podcast on iTunes as well as on Forbes India's website. And to have someone call you for a Forbes India subscription, message Forbes to 51818.